welcome to Live Interactive English. I'm Matt.
And I'm Winnie.
And today we are talking about an interesting article called Celebrating Mongolia's Culture and Traditions. Naadam Festival.
Oh, really interesting. So actually, a lot of people probably don't know this, but I have some Mongolian ancestry. So on my father's side, I think it was like his great-great-grandfather was from Mongolia. So as someone who's never actually been to Mongolia, this is really interesting because it kind of means something, special to me, but it also sounds really interesting.
Yeah, I've personally been very interested in traveling to Mongolia just because, well, it's one of the places in East Asia that I haven't been to yet.
Yes.
And part of the reason is that sometimes flights can be quite expensive to get there from Taiwan. And also, because it's a very cold country, it's, there's a short period of time when you can go when it's actually warm in the summer.
I think that actually kind of explains why I'm usually very hot, because Mongolian people are really good in the wintertime. They have to live in really cold places. So that kind of checks out. And I know that their children are really good at riding horses. Like shortly after they learn how to walk, they're pretty much already going to be on a horse because, horse riding is a really important aspect of their culture.
That's right. I know that they're a traditionally nomadic culture, meaning they would move from place to place and take all their things with them. And they would travel by horseback, so that's why that is so important.
Yes, well, I'm excited, you're excited to find out about celebrating Mongolia's culture and traditions, Naadam Festival.
July is a month when nations around the world enthusiastically celebrate their history and culture. In the US, Independence Day on July 4th marks the birth of the nation, and France's Bastille Day, July 14th, represents the French Revolution. However, a lesser-known event in July is Naadam, Mongolia's three-day festival that honors the country's rich culture. Naadam is centered on three main sports: wrestling, horse racing, and archery. These activities have been integral to Mongolian society for centuries and remain the peak of the festival.
Let's get started with today's article, Celebrating Mongolia's Culture and Traditions, Naadam Festival.
All right, let's get into it. July is a month when nations around the world enthusiastically celebrate their history and culture. In the US, Independence Day on July 4th marks the birth of the nation. And France's Bastille Day, July 14th, represents the French Revolution.
Right. A lot of people kind of make it a big thing about celebrating their country on that day. There's a lot of barbecues, fireworks.
That's right. Well, there's one more in July, and that's Canada Day, which celebrates Canada becoming a country, which is July 1st. All right, so people enthusiastically celebrate these things, and that's just showing enthusiasm or being enthusiastic. And this is an adverb, so when you do something in this way, you're doing it enthusiastically. So that's showing intense emotion, intense happiness, interest, or agreement with something.
Right.
So you might show enthusiasm by singing, by dancing, by cheering, but by doing things that show that you are really interested or really happy about something.
Right. It's one of those holidays where everyone's just kind of in a really good mood for the whole day. Okay, so continuing on with the article. However, a lesser-known event in July is Naadam, Mongolia's three-day festival that honors the country's rich culture. So this day is kind of like their Independence Day, or in their case, their day to celebrate their country. And not only is it, on 4th of July, you kind of have the one day, but for them, they have a whole 3 days to celebrate. So when we use honor, it is our verb, and it means when you celebrate and bring attention to a person, place, or event that happens. So for example, the event honors fallen soldiers. So in this case, this is how we honor Mongolian culture and traditions.
Hello， 大家好，我是 Hanny。今天的课文是要介绍蒙古的传统文化庆典纳达慕大会 Naadam Festival。课文提到说，7月是世界各国热情庆祝他们历史与文化的月份，像7月4日是美国的独立纪念日，7月14号是法国的巴士底日，代表了法国大革命。另外呢，有一个比较不为人所知的节日，就是蒙古为期3天的纳达慕大会。这个庆典是在赞扬该国丰富的文化。好，单字 enthusiastically 这个副词表示热情地或激动地。Honor 当动词表示赞扬、公开表彰或是向什么致敬，而文中它用到 July is a month when 来说明7月是一个怎么样的月份。这边有一个重点 ，when 当关系副词，它相当于 in which、on which 或是 at which， 可以引导形容词子句，用来修饰或补述说明表示时间的先行词。那首先，当这个先行词它是非特定时间时，我们用限定用法来修饰 when 前面不加逗号。举例来说 ，There was a time when most people believed the Earth was the center of the universe。曾经有一度，人们认为地球是宇宙的中心。先行词 a time 它是非特定时间，所以后面我们紧接着形容词子句来限定修饰它的范围 ，when 的前面就不加逗号咯。第二个，当先行词它是特定时间，那我们就用非限定用法来做补充说明 ，when 的前面要加逗号。例如 ，Gina likes to take a walk in the evening when the weather is cooler。Gina 喜欢在晚上散步，那时候天气比较凉爽。这个先行词 the evening 它是特定时间，后面的形容词子句就是用来补充说明这个时段，我们用逗号把补充说明的句子隔开。那接回课文中。
Naadam is centered on 3 main sports: wrestling, horse racing, and archery. These activities have been integral to Mongolian society for centuries and remain the peak of the festival. Okay, so we said that it is centered on these 3 sports.
Right.
So to center something on something, either a noun or an ing verb, we could mean that that is the most important part of something and the rest of this event takes place around, so is less important than these things.
Yeah.
So you might say that the shopping mall is centered on the food court.
Right. Oh, well, that's for you, yes.
It's the most important part of the shopping mall.
Right.
So the shopping mall is around the food court where you can get some delicious food.
So we also have this adjective, integral, which means when something is important and meaningfully necessary. And in this case, when we're talking about Mongolian culture, a lot of these sports are really important to them, like seeing as a lot of them learn how to ride horses, right after they learn how to walk. It's a really big, important part of their history and, well, actually their present too.
纳达慕大会主要以3项运动为中心：摔跤、赛马和射箭。那这些活动几世纪以来一直是蒙古社会不可或缺的一部分，而且仍然是大会的重头戏。好，我们用到单字 integral， 它是形容词，形容不可或缺的，或者是构成整体所必须的。Wrestling 则表示摔跤运动，再看到 archery， 它表示箭术或是射箭运动。这边还有一个重点是 center 当动词，它表示以什么为中心，使注意力集中于什么。它可以当及物或不及物用，之后可以接介系词 on、around、round 或者是 upon。所以我们来看看它的用法，你可以用 something center on、around、round、upon 或者是你可以用 somebody center something 加上 on、around、round、upon 举例来说 ，The book centers around friendship and forgiveness。这本书的主题是友谊与宽恕。再看个例句。Helen centers her life on her children. Helen 的生活以她的孩子们为中心。解华课文中。
All right, so we've learned quite a bit about this interesting festival, Naadam Festival, and it's really something which maybe I should start planning a trip to go to because it is in July.
Not too cold.
It's not too cold. The weather should be nice.
Right.
And you can see those sports, which sound very interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of like their own version of the Olympics. I guess that makes sense why during the Olympics, they're a lot of the great wrestlers are from Mongolia.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I'm excited to learn a little bit more after the break.
To kick things off, a parade is held in the capital, Ulaanbaatar, that features traditional music, clothing, and dance. Over the following days, people from across the country gather to compete or watch the events. Typically, wrestling receives the most attention, with hundreds of participants battling for the prestigious title of champion. Naadam is also a time to come together with family, enjoy delicious food, and experience community spirit. With its lively traditions, the festival is more than just a sporting event. It's a symbol of the heart and soul of Mongolia.
Welcome back from the break. Before the break, we learned about this awesome festival called Naadam, and it's a 3-day event where a lot of wrestling and horseback riding and archery happens, and it's a way for Mongolia to really celebrate their country.
That's right, so let's learn some more about this festival. To kick things off, a parade is held in the capital, Ulaanbaatar, that features traditional music, clothing, and dance.
Ooh, sign me up.
Over the following days, people from across the country gather to compete or watch the events.
Ooh, so like we said, it's kind of like their Olympics.
So they actually compete in these sports and try to win. So to compete, well, compete means to try to win or defeat or to do better than others. So you might think of competitions like sporting competitions where people will race against each other or play sports against each other or try to do better than everyone else around them. You can also compete in school or in the workplace to try to do better than your classmates. And if that's the case, someone might say you're very competitive if you're always trying to compete or trying to show that you are better than others.
Would you say you're competitive?
Yes, I am.
Oh, so maybe you should sign up for this.
All right, we have an example sentence. Elsa will compete in the race tomorrow.
Oh, well, it's no competition. She can just use her ice skills, you know?
That's right, Elsa can just fly around on ice.
That's kind of cheating. Okay, continuing. Typically, wrestling receives the most attention, with hundreds of participants battling for the prestigious title of champion. That sounds really tiring, but also really fun if you were watching it. So to be the champion means, you know, a person who has defeated and won against all other players. So, you know, yes, there are a lot of competitors, but there's only one champion. So for example, the runner is this year's world champion. So this person might have set a record but the most important part is that they won and beat everyone else. So with these wrestlers, there are hundreds of competitors. So you know that the champion is probably one of the best. Yeah.
活动一开始，首都乌兰巴托会举行一场主打传统音乐、服装和舞蹈的游行。接下来几天，来自全国各地的人们就会齐聚一堂，参加比赛或者是观看比赛。通常摔跤会受到最多的关注，有数百名参赛者来争夺这个具有声望的冠军头衔。那么单字 compete 动词，它表示竞争或比赛，它的相关词性 competition 可以表达比赛、竞赛或竞争。这时候 Matt 老师有提到 sporting competition 就是表达运动比赛。下一个单字 champion 它表示冠军或是获胜者。接华课文中
Naadam is also a time to come together with family, enjoy delicious food, and experience community spirit.
Wow.
All right, so community spirit, well, what's a community? Community is a group of people usually living together and sharing certain characteristics that they all have in common. So in this case, we're talking about the community of, I guess, of Mongolia, or maybe of local towns that also might celebrate this event. So the people that live near each other and have a shared background and shared interests can, you know, share this spirit of the community together. So just enjoy being together with food and family.
Yeah.
All right, so we have an example sentence which says, the community worked together to clean up the beach.
Right, and you use this word community spirit. And of course, yes, spirit can mean ghosts, but in this case, we're actually talking about a passionate emotion, this feeling of, oh, let's all do this thing together. And you kind of feel happy together. So continuing on, with its lively traditions, the festival is more than just a sporting event. It's a symbol of the heart and soul of Mongolia. And I think a lot of countries have their own symbol or something where you think, cheese, France, so when you think of sports, you think of Mongolia. So when we use the word lively, our adjective, and it basically just means full of life and energy. So their traditions were very lively. They could be very loud and fun, and the energy that the festival goers, they felt really alive. And so we have an example sentence. We went to a lively market filled with energy and activity.
那达慕大会有着充满活力的传统，它不仅是一场体育赛事，也是家人们团聚、享用美食，还有体验社区精神的时刻。那么单字 community 它表示社区、社团或群体，文中用 community spirit 来表达社区精神。这时候呢 ，Winnie 老师有用到 passionate 这个形容词，在 passion 后面加上 ate， 那构成这形容词，它可以形容热情的、激昂的或是热烈的。下一个单字 lively， 它是形容词，形容活力充沛的或是热闹的、热烈的。介华课文中。
All right, so now we know about this amazing event that takes place in Mongolia, and it's a place where you can not only enjoy dance and traditional dress, but also watch some sporting events at the same time.
Right.
So it sounds like a really exciting thing to go and visit and really be able to take in the local culture while you're there.
And don't forget food, which is our favorite way of learning about a new country. So hopefully you guys learned a little bit about Mongolia, which of course is just the tip of the iceberg, but maybe the best way to figure out more about Mongolia is to go to Naadam.
I'll see you there in July.
Ooh, bye.
Bye.
July is a month when nations around the world enthusiastically celebrate their history and culture. In the US, Independence Day on July 4th marks the birth of the nation, and France's Bastille Day, July 14th, represents the French Revolution. However, a lesser-known event in July is Naadam, Mongolia's three-day festival that honors the country's rich culture. Naadam is centered on three main sports: wrestling, horse racing, and archery. These activities have been integral to Mongolian society for centuries and remain the peak of the festival. To kick things off, a parade is held in the capital, Ulaanbaatar, that features traditional music, clothing, and dance. Over the following days, people from across the country gather to compete or watch the events. Typically, wrestling receives the most attention, with hundreds of participants battling for the prestigious title of champion. Naadam is also a time to come together with family, enjoy delicious food, and experience community spirit. With its lively traditions, the festival is more than just a sporting event. It's a symbol of the heart and soul of Mongolia.
最后，我们来复习今天课文里的单字文法。单字的部分有 honor 是动词，表示赞扬、公开表彰或是向什么致敬。compete 动词，表示竞争、比赛。champion 是名词，表示冠军、获胜者。community 名词，表示社区、社团或是群体。lively 它是形容词，形容活力充沛的、热闹的或热烈的。文法的部分，我们第一个学到关系副词 when 所引导的形容词子句，可以用来修饰或补述说明表示时间的先行词。先行词是非特定时间，我们用限定用法修饰 when 前面不加逗号。先行词是特定的时间，我们用非限定用法来补充说明，这时候 when 的前面要加逗号。 第二个，我们学到 center 当动词，它表示使什么、以什么为中心，或是使注意力集中于点点点。那么用法会是 something center 加上 on、around、round 或是 upon 点点点，或者是可以用 somebody center something 加上 on、around、round、upon 点点点。好，那以上是今天的讲解，同学别走开，马上回来哦。
The weather is just so nice. After this, I'm going to get a workout in, and then I'm going to go to a party. This weekend is going to be so awesome.
I think I'll just stay at home. There's nothing to look forward to.
Why? That's not like you. Usually you love going out. What's going on?
I don't know. I guess everything just seems so pointless. The world is full of problems, climate change, divisive politics. It's just, nothing seems right, you know? And it's upsetting.
Don't think like that. You sound like such a doomer.
Well, that's me lately. It doesn't matter what I do, you know? Everything just keeps on getting worse and worse.
Oh, there's always something good and positive to focus on. How about you just go to that party? We'll have a great time and forget about all your worries.
Maybe you're right. It's hard to shake off the feeling, though.
Hey everyone! Today we're going to talk about the term doomer.
That's right. A doomer is someone who feels a sense of despair about the world, often focusing on negative future outcomes.
They tend to believe that no matter what actions are taken, life's problems are too big to overcome.
The term doomer also implies a level of resignation to a bleak future, which can lead to not engaging in efforts to improve situations.
It's important to be aware of the issues we face, but it's also crucial to maintain a balance and not fall into complete pessimism.
Here are some sentence examples using doomer. He's such a doomer that he never participates in voting because he thinks it won't make a difference.
Or you could say, after reading so many articles about climate change, she became a doomer and lost hope for a sustainable future.
Remember, while it's crucial to be aware of challenges, it's equally important to maintain hope and work towards solutions.
You are absolutely right, Karen, and that is all for today.
And we'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.